Ooh, hello there. Yes, well, can you feel it? That tingling, that electricity in the air. Yes! Suddenly the elections come alive. Electric, as Nigel Farage would describe it. Yes! Scintillating, 4 p.m. yesterday. The entire world suddenly moved. Well, it carries on moving anyway. Yes, anyway, the shock horror announcement that he's going to stand finally as an MP for Clacton again. Come back to that particular one. Yes, apparently it's going to set the election alight because, as Nige pointed out, the kids don't want the old fuddy-duddy stuff anymore, which is why he's the man to step into that breach. Yeah, that's going to be him. Maybe not, eh? Yeah. Anyway, Nigel Farage. We'll come on to why, of course. But a man who makes me feel like I'm still a teenager. He has that kind of old person vibe about him. Spare a thought, if you will, for Tony Mack. Ex-cabbie, who was going to be Reform's candidate there. You may have seen him off at the sidelines before Nigel Farage came on stage with Richard Tice as the warm-up man. Jeez. You can see why Richard Tice is standing down as leader. I mean, he paid £1 million to get that gig, basically. And, he's still not a scintillating human being. I mean, Nigel Farage isn't a scintillating human being, but at least he comes across as affable. You know, that's the thing about Nigel Farage. You can imagine spending an interesting afternoon in a boozer with him. Richard Tice, nah. Anyway, Tony Mack, yeah, bless him, who was obviously going for the youth vote, a bit like Nigel is, because look, look at it here. He's got a mobile phone and he's on TikTok. Way and Instagram. He's got the youth vote sewn up there, and you can see he exudes that kind of Bexhill-on-Sea I'm a happening kid vibe that you might get anywhere. Yeah, he's the sort of person that would sit across from somebody like who was actually a Bexhill resident, like Mike Graham, and think, oh, he's a bit old. Yes, anyway, leaving aside youth votes, which aren't going to happen, or indeed electricity, which isn't going to happen, one has to say, well, why is Nigel Farage doing this? Well, blindingly, obviously, because he wants to be the next leader of the Conservative Party. That's what this is about. So the idea is that he will be front and centre, because realistically, without him, Reform will get 0 MPs. That's basically it. I mean, Clacton is the closest that they can possibly get, with a bit of a track record of not doing badly there, you know, when people actually kind of, you know, jump the fence like Lee Anderson. But leaving that aside, this is what this is about. And he has to be an MP. I mean, he's said rude things about Clacton in the past, but he's not Ian Dale, so it doesn't really matter. But it will be interesting because the Tory majority there is 25,000, which he's got to basically get a sizable chunk of to win. But he also has to work on the basis that there will be a lot of momentum behind a third-party candidate. Now, that part of the world is about as dinosaur as you can get. I know I'm being rude about Bexhill-on-Sea, but I know Bexhill-on-Sea. I also know Frinton-on-Sea. It's a place that's so stuck up itself that they won't allow a fish and chip shop in the town because it lowers the tone. It really is where people go to die, and except they don't there, they do carry on, usually as members of the Conservative Party. Anyway, it will be interesting, if nothing else, to see. Not electric, though, okay? There is nothing that's going to set this election on fire. But the stuff that might set the Conservative Party on fire is the notion that they could have him as their next leader. Something which should realistically scare all of us, because Nigel Farage mixes with a lot of very interesting characters from abroad very, very, very deliberately. You know, Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, et al. He's also quite pally with Rupert Murdoch. All of these things should ring alarm bells with anybody that has notional views of where British democracy should go. You can like Nigel Farage as a human being, but you really don't want to touch his politics, his core politics, with a barge pole, because if you look at Umberto Eco's 14 points on fascism, he ticks a hell of a lot of those boxes. He's deep down a deeply, deeply, deeply reactionary authoritarian nationalist, and I'm choosing my words very carefully there. But yeah, we will see. Anyway, do have a lovely day. It's going to be a long one. I just know it's going to be a long one today. Enjoy.